Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're looking into Oddity Tech. Last time I did a video on these guys, they had not actually come onto the market. They'd set their pricing around $35, which was much higher than the initial kind of offering where they were looking at pricing the stock below $30. But there was overwhelming demand for the stock and it ended up being priced around $35. If we look at today's pricing, it is around $50, $49.78 to be exact, and this company is at a valuation of $2.8 billion. So in terms of where these guys are at, they're just at the start of their journey. They're growing around 80% based on their last quarter revenues and are making a very healthy profit. So it's very difficult to find such a company. If you do, you really want to think about holding it for the longer term because there's a lot of good fundamental economic factors and also, product factors as well that's working in their favor. So if we look into this company itself, it's always good to dive into what they actually do. So they have two main kind of products or brands to be exact. They've got a product called Il Makiage, and that's kind of like focused on kind of makeup, in the makeup area, and then they have Spoiled Child, which is in the more wellness area like skincare. So their brands are very specific in which areas they target, and that kind of gives them a really focused approach. They generally like to see themselves as being a company that kind of targets a certain area, like sort of in a situation that they like to see themselves as a company that is using a lot of data points. That they're not building a trendy product, even though their products are very trendy. Like I look at some of their products and say like Sport Child, like you look at their product and just the design, the color, it looks like a product that's very hip, very trendy. Like with all the use of colors, it's kind of very nice and wonderful and very eye-catching. But at the same time, it's a very solid product. It's built for the customer, that they know their customers want it, and hence how they've designed the product. And I think that kind of approach with a data kind of aspect to it is just very, very useful, and it kind of just proves out their model that they've actually got something working, that they're getting sales, and it's through an online channel. So their founder and CEO basically sees it as a situation of, hey, you only go to the bricks and mortar market when you can't make it online, and when you run out of customers as well on an online platform. For these guys, they are fully utilizing their online platform and they're doing really well doing it. They do have quite a influencer kind of driven kind of marketing kind of situation. So if I scroll through Il Makiage, you'll see like they have a lot of tags to a lot of Instagram accounts of people using their product, and then you can basically get a sense that, hey, these guys are actually kind of going marketing in a very trendy type of way, but also it's also proving out their product that, hey, these people are using their product and they're finding the results are pretty good. Il Makiage also has a good presence inside the makeup room of television stations. So for me, that's a really nice factor that, hey, you've got television stations who basically use this as a core foundation for everyone that comes onto their production. It kind of means that the product's actually good, and it's actually useful. And again, we see kind of this really nice design that's coming through as well. I kind of like the approach. Firstly, it's really eye-catching. It's a useful product. And what more do you really need from a product that does what it says it's gonna do? I think there are overall the reviews are pretty good for the products, but also of course there's always some negative ones. around the tech. I think they're continuously improving around the tech, and in over time they'll get better. But based on the financials, they're doing super well. Um, as you can see, by the Oddity Tech, this year they created Oddity Labs, which is AI-based molecule discovery, and they're hoping to discover kind of molecules that basically can be used in their products in the future. And basically that's going to be quite useful if they want to create new products, which I think they have a third brand coming out. So if I go to so before I go there, they like to quote that they have 40 million unique users, and they have 1 billion data points to use for their kind of model, and I think it's quite accurate, and so far it's proving very accurate. So in terms of when I click onto their brands, so like we can see Il Makiage is the front one, which was their first brand, and then we've got Spoiled Child. Actually I should switch screens, or else you won't be seeing what I'm seeing. And basically you can see that they've got brand number 3 coming out, which is quite an interesting part because they're already hitting the whole area of they're going into the makeup industry, they're going into skincare. So the big question is, where are these guys going in terms of their brand number 3? What kind of product are these guys looking at getting into to disrupt? Because in a way, whatever industry they're going into, they're actually causing a bit of disruption into the model, and also leveraging how they use it, because firstly they've got 2 brands that are performing exceedingly well. They've got a lot of user data, they've got a lot of channels to go to that consumer base. So all of a sudden when they create a third brand, they can actually utilize that consumer base that they already have, and that already gives them a huge launch pad to good success already, that they don't actually have to chase. Unlike other marketing brands, in their view, is that there's too many products on the market. The one thing is you don't want to create too many products so that you alienate your customer and your customer doesn't know what to buy. The best way is to just create core products and just sell it as a consistent product to your customer. That way you're not constantly trying to have to win over your same customer, which is a huge cost to the actual company itself. So it should be interesting when they launch their third brand. I think that's going to give them a good boost as well. But overall, I think you've got a really good company, solid, that has a great long-term future. These guys are probably looking at about $500 to $600 million in revenue for their current financial year, which they've just passed their first quarter. So if we were to say these guys could deliver maybe 600 million, we're giving them a bonus factor that if they get their third brand out, that they're going to get a good lift in revenue for that as well. That these guys aren't actually trading at a huge multiple. They're just possibly trading around a 5 times multiple. So if you're trading a 5 times revenue multiple, it's actually really relatively conservative, and the stock price actually has a lot of room to go. But of course, it's a new listing. It's not really, well known per se. So I'd say give it time. But at the same time, it kind of gives you an opportunity to buy into a really good company. I think it's got a great long-term future ahead of it. There's not really many companies that I look at and go, that is a fantastic company. But I look at this company and I go, that's a fantastic company, because every factor about this company is actually on par. And I'm always wary of a growth company, of course, that eventually maybe something goes wrong or the growth slows down, so what happens? But I'm not as worried about this company because it's generating a very healthy profit. the minute growth slows down, there's a lot of profit that compensates for them having reduced growth, which is not a problem because at the end of the day, it's all about them producing a good profit, and these guys are producing a fantastic profit. So I kind of have a lot of belief in the stock to perform well, and I think right now is still a really good entry point into the stock because it's um, fantastic. Like, you look at the product, the more you read about this company, the more you like the company, and I think that kind of bodes well with a company that will perform really well. There's just a lot to like about it, rather than any factor that you look at it and go, actually, it kind of, there's not a lot that worries you, but there's a lot to look forward to, and I think that's a really, key thing about investing. You want to have a good core belief in what you're investing into, and also look at what the risk is, the downside is, and at the end of the day, like, they're performing well on growth and profit. So if one or the other gives way, it's still fine because one or the other gets a boost out of each other. So overall, I think great company, and we'll stay tuned to what happens. With the company, either future financials, new product releases. We'll see how it goes. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.